In this video, we'll define taxonomies and talk about how they can help you realize your content strategy. A taxonomy is a system that leads customers to the information they need. It's a hierarchy of your information that is based on your company's view of the product, a customer's preconceived idea, and the reality. The job of your information architect is to marry these views to create a usable and accurate content hierarchy. Effective taxonomies make it easier to find information. They can be directly incorporated as GUI search facets so customers don't have to guess what to search for. They can also be incorporated in your writer's authoring environment. A taxonomy is systemic. It provides a framework of categories for information, a system for classifying and organizing objects, a controlled vocabulary within a hierarchical structure, and a consistent organization that's contextually relevant. Taxonomies are different from metadata. A taxonomy helps you organize your content and assets into hierarchical relationships. Classifying content and assets in a taxonomy can make it easier to search for or browse for content when you don't know exactly what you're looking for. Metadata is useful when an object can be identified and the variations of that object can be predicted. In this case, content can be tagged to indicate the variations. Before we talk about taxonomies from a documentation perspective, let's talk about the mental model of a taxonomy. Let's start by thinking about the taxonomy of a website that teaches people about animals. In our site, we might group our animals into 3 major categories: mammals, reptiles, and insects. We're at a very high level of our taxonomy. Each of these categories will have subcategories, which in turn will have more subcategories. Taxonomies are all about this arrangement into categories and subcategories. More complex relationships are handled by ontologies, which address multiple perspectives beyond a hierarchy. Let's say that our customer chooses mammals. By choosing mammals, our customers filter or eliminate a massive number of choices. There might be some debate, but let's say we settle on 2 subcategories: water mammals and land mammals. Each is still a large bucket with many more options. Our customer will choose water mammals. Within water mammals, we have whales, dolphins, seals, and otters. Our customer wants to learn about whales. Within whales is blue whales, gray whales, and narwhals. Up until this point, the customer has been dealing with facets. Facets are categories that yield more options, or are the final nodes in this tree diagram. Each type of whale is really the end of the line. There are no further subcategories of whales to drill down into. Let's say our customer wants to learn more about narwhals. In our taxonomy, we have the option to include additional details like life cycle, food sources, or natural habitat. In a taxonomy, these additional details are called filters. These details aren't a part of a tree that categorizes the content, but they allow customers to filter the narwhal content to give them the specific information they want. The customer may also have the option to search for a narwhal's natural habitat and filter all the other content out from the start. Creating a taxonomy might seem straightforward, but as we mentioned earlier, it's an expression of your company's view of the content, your customer's preconceived idea, and the reality. The taxonomy would have to change if one of these elements were to change too. For example, what if the customer were a biologist? A biologist wouldn't use the same terms or categories, or have the same goals as an 11-year-old doing a school project. Differentiating between facets and filters are a helpful way to categorize your content for your customers. It forces you to consider at which level in your content model a piece of information belongs. It also forces you to consider the customer journey, which involves knowing where customers start, where they'll end, and the paths they'll take. Taxonomies are not just a consideration for the information architect. All writers will need to know the customer journey to effectively write, tag, and structure information. And now you know a little bit about taxonomies.